This next one I think will be interesting because I think potentially it'd be nice to see if everyone actually has a different game for what is their best small game, which I presume by that you mean some sort of indie small title that could last an hour, could be done by a relatively unknown developer.
There was a couple I was thinking about, but I'll special mention to, because I played it again, to Inside.
The game's good.
Yeah, because I went back to it for the first time after having played it initially, and much like Limbo, when you go back to it, you're like,
different experience second time around.
Different,
yeah.
But also like I kind of remember a bit about how some of these puzzles work, and you fly through it in one sitting as opposed to like two very scared ones or whatever. Great game, looks tremendous. The sound direction in that game, it's so well done in terms of when some of the ambient soundtracking comes in. It's direct, very specifically happen at very specific points, and the camera like suddenly pulls out, and you're in this big pool of something or other, and it's just so effective. I really appreciate every time there's a bit of music comes in to mean something. I was very, very pleased all over again. But the actual one I wanted to talk about was Abzu.
The diving game.
It looks so nice, especially early on when you're in these like self-contained kind of big pools with like kelp seaweed, like arms of seaweed that like are rooted in the floor and just go all the way up to the surface, and you can just swim through them, and you're swimming with other fish, and there is something so peaceful. And like it, when Jamie, when you said earlier about one of the PSVR games that was just looking around a big fish tank,
there's something about sea life.
It reminded me of this. That it was just something so peaceful and nice about this, and like you can. I don't want to like go too much about like what actually happens, but it's a very short run through, much like very similar to Journey in terms of runtime, but different enough to be absolutely worthwhile. Very nice music and everything.
And the lighting again is just really
the lighting
impressive.
Looks great.
You could tell somebody spent a lot of time working on lighting as
coming
it is
through
affected
water.
through water.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'd forgotten that game existed. I really want to go and check that out.
I recommend it. It's
sounds nice.
Very nice experience.
Matt, what is your small game?
Mine is Oxenfree. Anyone played it?
I have it, and I've
downloaded it.
I completed it in one playthrough. It's a small game, but it's great. Really atmospheric. I went in not knowing anything about it, other than watching a trailer, which didn't really give much away.
Great acting, isn't it?
Huh?
Great acting, isn't it? Like detailed.
Yes. Yeah. Really, really good. And the storyline's great. Very unexpected plot where it goes and where it kind of heads. But yeah, it really gripped me, and it's just again music and kind of small choices that you can make throughout the game as well. Like you choose your own dialogue and stuff from choices that it gives you. But yeah, I was really pleasantly surprised by it. I've got a few indie games that I kind of sat and have tried, and I've never been a big indie gamer, but this one had me gripped through to the end, which was nice. Yeah, one's mine.
Very good. Gordon?
My one's so silly.
It's so silly.
Oh, really?
Sushi Cat. I think I play through this a couple of times every year. He's so cool. It's a ridiculously satisfying, and the music is too. Plus, I love sushi. It has everything I love.
That's a really good call.
I've never heard of this game.
Me either. Please explain.
It's like a Flash game, right? It's on a site somewhere. I can't remember what, like Miniclip or something like that.
Yeah. PlaySushiCat.org. Oh my god.
We got a live demonstration going on.
I found it.
So it's pretty much just Pachinko with a really fat cat who likes sushi and gets fatter the more sushi he eats.
It's me.
Amazing. That is a good small game.
Yeah.
That is a good
Well
small
done.
game.
I have to find this.
Okay.
Are you saying
And he
something
wants
else,
to
Jordan?
find a lovely female cat.
So there's a romantic narrative.
But he'd also rather have lots of sushi.
My phone was like, sushi catering? Are you hungry?
Tell me more,
He
Gordon.
has to eat the sushi to find her.
Ah,
Yes.
obviously. Sorry, I'm speaking.
Not versed in the ways of cat romance.
To move on from that.
Yeah.
But my small game is the PS download we did. That's You, where everyone's got the game on the phone.
Oh yeah,
And you
that's
just
a
sit
really
down-
good show.
You just sit down
Yeah.
and sitting with a bunch of your mates. You only need one PlayStation. Everyone can use their phones, and you play a bunch of little silly, like Mr. and Mrs. kind of games, but with friendships, and it's very well done. I only thought of it today actually because we had an 80s playlist and Rebel Rebel came on, and I was like, I remember the soundtrack, and it's got a really distinct visual style. But you know, it's like playing a board game essentially for like an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
You've got to take pictures of things and draw things that feels unique each time. And I've only done it twice with you guys, but it's always been really good fun and a nice one to have on the back burner.
It's by far like the best example I can think of a game that uses like multi-interface functionality like that, like having it be something that functions so well and so like smoothly with your phone. It because it's obviously like the way that it like just takes whatever photo you send it and draw on and just sticks it up on the screen so like quickly and seamlessly. Is great, and it really makes the game work.
Nice.
Fun. And you, Diamonds, to wrap up the small game?
Well, mine also involves drawing. I would like to nominate Passepartout, the starving artist, which I got on Switch relatively recently. I'm not sure how. It's almost not a game because I don't know if there is a win state, or even if you can actually lose. Because it's basically you're playing as this guy who is an artist and has to just keep making art to pay the bills and try and get make things that people will want to buy from you. And that's it. It's very like simple. Like it's more rudimentary than like Microsoft Paint in terms of the tools you have, which I think is a good thing for it because it means you're not getting too drawn into trying to do anything too technical. Like it has to be something simplistic and more kind of conceptual that you are going with because you're just painting on little canvases, and obviously the game can't really know what you have painted, so you kind of just do anything, and the characters seemingly randomly will go, oh, this is shit, or this is great, and will give you feedback on it. It feels like a really good commentary on the idea that just reinforcing the thing that art should be something that is self-generative and not dependent on feedback, because the feedback you get is totally meaningless. And it's really fun. It's just nice for what it is.
The art he's made on it is still amazing, even though the tools are so basic.
That's
I
because
don't.
hate
It is a show off.
Because he is an addict.
Annoyingly,
obnoxiously talented.
annoyingly talented.
Well, it's something that it's fun to do anyway, and also like the tools are good enough that you can do some cool stuff with it, and it's nice.
You can do it, not me. Gordon would like to say.
But if it even I would like okay, so I get a kick out of it because I enjoy doing that stuff anyway. But I think if all you were doing was just loads and loads
Could you just
of
draw loads
like
of dicks?
Microsoft Paint drawings of cocks, like
And then having to haggle the prices on them. Well, this is better than
yeah,
this is
the-
my
that would
masterpiece cock.
be that would still make for an equally entertaining experience.
I'm now getting this game because of that.
Good.
I can draw dicks and sell
Yeah.
them.
Just draw the poop emoji in different
This is
colors.
my live stream come true.
Yeah.
There was a time in my life I probably did almost draw a dick a day, just like that the kid.
Dick a day.
Just like young Jonah Hill in Superbad. I used to think it was really fun to draw dicks on post-it notes and hide them in my co-workers' diaries. Up until I realised actually that probably counts as sexual harassment, so I stopped doing it.
Oh.
I used to really enjoy doing it, and if I could make a living out of it, we're quids in, mate.
So good game. I'd recommend it.
Well done.
Well, speaking of dicks, no, this is not a good segue.
Best dick in a game.
Best dick in the game. No, something completely different. The best old game that you have rediscovered. So obviously, a big part of our 2018 list was it's not necessarily about games that have come out in 2018 for you to enjoy, but if there's something even older that you've played again or played like an updated version of or remake, I guess. Gordon, we should lead with you.
Crash Bandicoot. Yes, it's been remastered, but I figure it still counts. I love Crash Bandicoot. It finds the balance between Mario and Sonic for me, with little puzzle aspects but pushing you to get through everything at a decent pace. In that way, it's a bit like the music levels in Rayman Legends. You get into a good rhythm and it's really satisfying when you hit all the correct beats of the game. I think the original and remaster both look great as well. Wonderful colors and characters.
So you made that look like you typed that really quickly, and I was like, you typed a shitload in like 10 seconds. That's got to be a world record.
Good shout. Well done. That's definitely an old game rediscovered. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you say the word deck? Because I want to see what it says. DECK. What did you call me?
Check.
What?
Dick.
Oh, I got sit
Get
on
on my dick.
Anyway,
my
see,
dick.
this was related to old dicks.
Gordon's
Nick,
on
how's
deck.
your dick? Give us an old game you've rediscovered.
Well, actually, it's not even that old, but I just got back into it earlier, like during this summer, and I still haven't finished it because I'm a terrible person. But
It's true.
Dishonored 2.
Oh yeah, I've been meaning to get around to that for ages.
I've not even started it yet. I've got it and I haven't touched it.
Dishonored 2 is fantastic.
Nice.
It's one of those sequels which is like actually did so many good new things that I read. It's what you want a second game in a series to be. It's like everything. It's like it did what Assassin's Creed 2 did. Like it took a lot of very good stuff in the first one, which was very flawed, but like lots of promise, and fixed it all and presented you with like a stunning experience for the time. I don't want to give too much away, but I almost had it for best mechanic as well, because so many of the gameplay things are so good.
They're really good fun, aren't they?
It's really fun, and the levels now have so much utility to them and variance that there really is so many ways to kind of get to your objective or do what you want to do, and a lot like there's often multiple targets, or in terms of like you can either assassinate this person or this person, or so there's the two options there, or there might be another way that you can do something else and no one needs to get assassinated. Figure it out.
Those are the most interesting, I
It
think.
doesn't tell you what it is, so you go into the level just being like, there might be another way. At the beginning of the game, it gives you the option to choose. You can play as Corvo or as Elizabeth, because Elizabeth has grown up now after the events of the first game. And gameplay wise, they have relatively they have a kind of a selection of similar powers, but they also have different ones. So there is actually a point to them to choose one or the other, which is good. That's what it like. That's my high horse is that's the way it should be. If you're giving a choice of characters, and particularly gender-based ones, make it meaningful.
Yeah.
Dishonored 2 is fantastic, and I know a bunch of you got it. Really put it back in, because it's so good, and it's just an awesome atmosphere, gameplay, story. It looks stunning. It's brilliant.
Well, Robin, if you haven't rediscovered playing Dishonored 2, what has been your old game that you've enjoyed picking?
I'll tell you. I played Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze a lot this year.
Oh, nice.
That game,
fantastic.
That's a really, really good 2D platformer, which I find hard to get into these days, if I'm totally honest. But that's one that felt like it's pushing the genre forward a bit. I don't love the art style, but the things that they do with it artistically are really pleasing. Like the themes of the levels, and the fact that like there's a narrative that continues between levels throughout each like section of the world map, and that they're really playing around with the ideas within those levels as well. So it's a lot of like like this level is it's like a fruit processing facility. Here's a bit where you're getting chased by a giant rolling wedge of cheese or something, and
nice.
That's
it's like affect the things that are like falling in front of you. Stuff like that is really cleverly thought out and makes it genuinely more fun. So it's really, really good platformer, and I wish the 2D Mario games were more like that instead of being balls.
Interesting.
Well, I believe Matt's received a call from the president that is urgent, and he must attend to. But Matt, would you kindly give us your nomination?
I will throw my hat into the ring on this one, and then I'm going to have to head. Yeah. So my old game that I rediscovered was Red Dead Redemption 1.
Oh, nice.
Well, when they announced RDR 2, I was like, I never actually finished the first one. I never completed it when I had it. So I was like, I know for a fact that I owned it on the Xbox, and now Xbox obviously do this thing where if you've owned it, you can just re-download it on backwards compatibility, which is great. So I re-downloaded it and played through the whole thing before RDR 2 got released. And even now, it still really holds up. Like, I still really enjoyed it. The little things that happen, the stranger missions. To think that, it was like it's 8 years old now, that game, and even pre GTA 5, it still is a great game. It's still got great kind of mechanics in it that were brand new for its time, like lassoing people and dragging them along with your horse and stuff like that. And like, I think the Deadeye function was in Red Dead, wasn't it? The very first one.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Red
not.
Dead.
Not really. Yeah, Red Dead Revolver, but it's hard to compare the two games. They're just so.
Yeah, I never played
So-
the original. I didn't even know it was a thing until after I'd played Red Dead Redemption. But yeah, I to this day that game still holds up. The story missions are great. My one gripe is that John Marston's a bellend, and I think that's why I didn't finish the original game the first time round, was because I couldn't connect to him as a character.
Well, he's kind of the
was a bit-
protagonist.
Yeah, this was it.
Matt, before
well,
you
thank
go,
you.
do you want to check out your nomination for the
I-
next category?
Totally can, yeah.
Where
Jamie,
the
did you
hell
do
were
your
we?
rediscovered game?
No, but I'll make it very quick. As it's a game that's come up absolutely loads of times in practically every fucking discussion. I rediscovered Dark Souls.
Hey.
And by rediscovered, I mean I never stopped playing it because Dark Souls.
Yeah.
But what I rediscovered it in the way of so this was the Switch version. So that was interesting to see how it handles portably, and it's handled very well, and the finesse of the controllers aren't lost. And just very simply, I did a magic build that I'd never done before because I've always done strengthful decks, and it was like playing a new game again because loads of different routes opened up to me, and I was focusing on different things and quest lines, and I was like, I know this game quite inside out, and yet it feels fresh from playing from this new perspective. So I won't go into all the reasons why it's amazing because you should all know that.
Yep.
But yeah, rediscovered Dark Souls on the Switch, playing as a wizard.
Dark Souls is a good game.
It is.
Yeah.
So my next category, my biggest nope moment was, and it was an unexpected one because again, I didn't do any research into this game before I started playing it, and it looked really nice and friendly and cool. And it was Uncanny Valley.
Oh, do
Really?
I know? Is it?
I didn't know. It's a 16-bit like side scroller, essentially mystery kind of game.
Yeah.
And I was playing it thinking, this is cool. It's a bit of a mystery one, awesome. And then about an hour in, I went, what the fuck is this? And I had to switch it off, and I couldn't continue because it scared me. And it was
Really?
16-bit. I couldn't carry on.
Oh.
You are such a worth. You would not
I
survive
really am.
PSVR horror.
And to prove that, you guys should watch Bindi and Matt play.
Hey.
Yay.
Plug.
Yeah, there you go, cheeky plug. But yeah, I am that much of a wuss. I think the 16-bit actually didn't. It added to the creepiness, the music, the fact that it's not high definition and it's really horrible. And I was like, no, I don't like this.
You should play Lone Survivor.
I don't think I want to.
Okay.
I'm scared just hearing
We'll
about
put it on the list for you.
Yeah, I'll check it. Like it's like I own the Insomnia Collection. I've never touched it.
You mean
Is it Insomnia?
Amnesia?
Amnesia, that's the one. Yeah, I do something like that. I've got that. I have that collection. I've not even installed it. I only got it because it was free.
It's amazing.
Because I'm a slave to the system.
and Gordon has
Gordon.
amnesia.
We played about 2 minutes of Amnesia. Justine and I literally could not. If Matt and I are ever made to play this for the channel, I think I would actually cry. I don't know what it is about it, but it scares the hell out of me. Also, a moment in 2018 updated Wintermute, The Long Dark, where you having to sneak around a giant bear to get a spear to be able to defend yourself. Not only is it an intense and stressful moment in the story, but in my opinion, it is slightly broken and unfair to the player. I, obviously, am unable to speak, and the urge to scream and smash everything around me was somewhat overwhelming. Robert knows. He saw. Massive no.
Well, speaking of nope, that's not your nope moment. The game that just made me go nope rather than a specific moment, but just in general, it's Fortnite for me. I've just not bought into the hype. It just very quickly became such a meme of itself and so instantly popular that that was just enough for me to not even want to try it, because I'm like, well, if everybody's doing it, then I don't want to be everybody. Like, speaking of Dark Souls, what I love about it is because it is, a bit more of a niche market. And when you meet somebody who appreciates those games, you're like, that means we have a lot in common in terms of taste. If you're friends with everybody who played Fortnite, well, fucking hell, you'd be friends with half of the world. It's very sheep mentality. I feel like people who, the same reason I'm not a FIFA player. I don't like playing the same game over and over and over again. And I've never been into FIFA in that way. And there's people who think they're gamers just because they play FIFA all the time.
No, yeah, almost transcending its video game status and just becoming a activity that certain people do.
Yes.
There have always been games like that for people who will play that one thing because they're not really interested in games there as a genre or whatever,
or they're just not
they just want that one thing, or for the social side of it.
Yeah.
Nick, do you have one?
I do, and it's a weird one. The game that has made me go noob this year, it's actually Assassin's Creed Origins. I still really like it. There is a mission you do early on where you assassinate some kind of head of it's like a head of some kind of police force almost. I think they're called like the Philaticais or Philacitides or something like that.
The flaccid guys, yeah.
Exactly. That's it.
Speaking of dicks, damn it, there was a segue. I knew it. Why didn't you help me out, Nick?
Sorry, man. So yeah, it's after you arrive in the first major city of Alexandria, and you assassinate this guy, and then as he's dying, he tells you, my flaccid guys are gonna hunt you down, and they'll get you. And
now that just sounds like sentient semen.
Oh God.
Sorry, carry on.
Anyway, serious. After you do that mission, you basically have become a wanted man, and it's not like you are constantly being chased, but in each major area you then go into, there will be one essentially policeman who is actually just wandering around, and you will know when he's close because a massive kind of horn will sound and it'll say, warning, flaccid guy nearby. And basically it's like a really high level mini boss, and he's wandering around, and if he sees you, he will just come for you. That, like, regardless of what you're doing, it doesn't matter if you're being completely law abiding, he'll come for you because he knows you're one of his targets. He's a bounty hunter, basically. If they are many levels ahead of you, they will pulverize you into a very fine paste, and then brush their teeth with you.
Very graphic.
They destroy you. They are so strong. So the first few times when I tried, I suddenly realized my error. And so then later on, when you're wandering through an area, and I'm like, I don't know, level 25 at this point, say, and I wander through, and the foghorn goes off, and I'm like, okay, how level is he? 35. I haven't run from an area as quickly in many games as I have when I saw a black flaccid guy who was 10 levels ahead of me coming my way.
He was 10 inches bigger, and he was
he was coming my way.
Coming for you.
Yeah, good.
That's why you need to take care of personal safety.
Robin, you had what is your nope moment of the year?
Hollow Knight, as mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Because there are places you go into where you just go, I don't know what I'm missing, but I'm not ready for this.
It's not ready, yeah.
And certain,
there's a
especially
sinking feeling of dread.
Yeah, one-on-one fights with certain of the mini boss type guys, like the ghosts you fight, stuff like that. Just go like, I'm not.
They are hard.
No.
Yeah.
I remember a moment where I just went through like a door and the screen changed and I just came out onto a small ledge and there was just, as far as I could see, was like just thorns on the ground, and I was like,
yes,
okay,
I remember that.
I can't go that way yet, and just go through.
Oh.
Lots of moments like that.
My perception of those things changed quite a bit as I was going through the game, because I started off thinking very much in terms of it being like, oh, I feel like maybe I need another ability that I haven't got yet, or something like that. And obviously there's upgrading your equipment and stuff is part of the game too, but also I think your level of competence with your skills really does improve significantly throughout that game. But there are a lot of sections that feel a lot harder, and you come back to them later and it might not be that your character has changed that much. You have just become more adept at using your skills.
Yeah.
And that's really pleasing.
That's satisfying, yeah.
Agreed. Well, shall we move on to the I was going to say the penultimate, and that's wrong. The final category, and whiz through our most enjoyable characters.
Yes. Gordon is feverishly tapping away.
Gordon will do it.
Go for it, Gordon.
Special mention to Sebastian in Stardew Valley, because he's hot. And in the new Smash, because she's just badass. But the character who I think has genuinely provided me the most entertainment is King Kamoshida in Persona 5, the inner projection of a pervert teacher, who sees the school he works in as his own castle, where he controls and abuses the students like slaves. It sounds dark, but his personality and costume in that world are hilarious to me. He has some really great lines and animations. It's so very Japanese, which obviously means I love IT.
You love your tea?
IT.
Oh,
IT.
you had to right up until the end.
I love IT.
Yeah.
Nicholas, your favorite character?
Yeah, well, I'm going to bounce back to Assassin's Creed Origins again. Bayek has a wife who you partially play as at certain points, called Aya. And she is the most badass and super, like gorgeous but totally non-sexualized character that I've seen in a game for ages. It's almost a contradiction, because actually the amount of times that multiple times throughout the game they split up and then meet up again at like different areas, and they actually like immediately start fucking each other because they love each other so much.
They're hot.
So they are like it. It is a very sexual relationship, but she herself, her entire personage in the game isn't that way. She's driven, she's strong, and she is an equal to Bayek in every way. And he treats her as such. He respects her so fucking much. It's amazing, and that relationship is really, really nicely written, really nicely acted. Bayek is really cool. I really like him as a protagonist, but Aya is just as fucking cool.
Ah, yeah.
Very well put arguments, sir. A quick shout out to Astrobot from Astrobot, because he's so cute and he runs around, and like every time you look down at me, he's like waving, going hi. But actually, my favorite character of 2018 was playing as Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th.
Ah.
Oh, he's a character. You invite him to a party. Oh, it's gonna go down. It was really fun playing as him. Like he's obviously not made up of much personality, because he's mute, and in the films and stuff he's very stiff and generally slow. But all the mechanics in the game are designed to make you this kind of like ever increasing kind of godlike figure who zooms around the maps and kind of does all these brutal kills. And I just really got into it, and I was putting on like stupid voices and chasing these guys. I'm gonna get you. This is such a like. I know there's games that make you play as the villain, but it was just what a character.
What a guy.
What a guy. Yeah, so that's
Yeah, that's a good call.
that's my character. More so from a gameplay perspective of and the personality that I felt and put onto him.
It's like it
playing as
makes
Jason.
you want to be that person. Like,
Yes, everybody wants to be Jason when the game.
It makes you feel very like empowered.
Yeah, we should play that game again. I want to play it again.
Yeah, good call.
I'm get you guys.
I can't decide. So it's basically I haven't played too many heavily narratively driven games this year, but so I'm trying to decide between Kratos from God of War and the World Serpent in God of War, because the World Serpent is a really, really big snake, and that's good. And Kratos is an angry old man, so that's fun too.
That's also good.
So that's difficult. I thought like I wouldn't say it's like totally successful throughout in the entirety of the story, in terms of how they portray Kratos' struggle of dealing with being a dad, but it was enjoyable watching somebody like failing to work out what they're doing wrong, essentially, and trying to be better. It made me feel for the character in a way I didn't believe that I would going in. So that was good. And also the snake was really big, so there's a point there as well.
No, I totally understand and I agree.
And when he speaks, he's like, and that's fun.
That's very interesting. I mean, that's a compelling point.
It's difficult to say between the two.
Yeah,
I'd probably give it to the snake.
Yeah.
Well, based off of how he sounds, I think.
Yeah. And you have to play a trumpet to summon him, so that's nice.
Oh, okay. Well, you didn't tell us that. There you go.
Yeah.
Come on.
That is the nail in the coffin. The big snake and the Flaccid Boys. Flaccid.
That's the name of my ska band.
Oh, I'd like to give a special mention to Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic World.
Oh, they actually got him.
He's got quite a lot of dialogue actually, and it's great having him there.
That's amazing.
That's your money's worth right there.
Yeah.
I love him.
He's good.
So there we go.
On that blummy note, thank you for listening, watching, however you are viewing this this chat. That was Game Chaps Games of 2018.
If you would like to leave your nominations for these categories, feel free to do so in the place where you write things. There you go. I did a YouTube thing.
And we'll see you next time for whatever we're doing next.
Jamie, sing the song again so we can dance out.
5, 6. Goodbye.